what we saw last week, which was, no, I think the week before, dana is charity, is the acts, and then understanding, buddhi is this missile. And actually, I've been Diwali cleaning, and so a lot of books and notes and everything. I have so many notes in Vibhishana Gita. And usually, Swamiji, when he talks about Vibhishana Gita, the Shakti Prasanna is the ability to understand spiritual knowledge. So I did it more as the strength of our intelligence last week, but Swamiji focuses on the importance of this spiritual knowledge. And then we just touched on it. Bara Vigyana Kotina Kodanda is that the steady mind is the quiver, and the arrows are of peacefulness. I think I did speak a little bit about it last week, right? When we spoke about what is peace. Actually, in chapter 13 of the Gita, all these qualities have also been coming. So there's a little bit of overlap. I think it might have been in Gita class that I spoke about it. Shanti is this quality of where we are in a state of no conflict. Peacefulness. And actually in the Gita, there's a few definitions of peace. And one of them is when we let go of our desires. Because the minute we have desires, it creates such angst in our lives. And then restlessness. And then it becomes a domino effect in terms of thoughts. Because the minute there's desire, then there's going to be a certain amount of repetition of a pleasure, and then anger with anyone who doesn't. Nowadays, when you see these shows or anything, even sometimes you'll see we all whip up our phones to record. If it's even sometimes you're walking past something on the road, right? And then so often the recording that we see has so many other phones in it recording. It's almost even like holding up that phone and then somebody else has held up their phone and now it's blocking your view. And that what we're recording, we're not going to see after 2 days. So we're not going to. And still that irritation comes, and that, because why? I want to. And then there's that block of being able to do because somebody is in front of you, or they held the camera up higher, or and then your view gets there. Like, it's such a small thing, right? And yet the reaction is not small within us. A lot of the times we are reacting, and the reactions, we appreciate how much it takes away our peace. Like, if it was something we were to guard, sometimes we have these games that you play with the kids, and then you say, like, this is the treasure, and then you can't let anyone else get the treasure. And with such ferocity, you protect your treasure in the game. And our treasure is peace. And it's almost like we're giving it away to absolutely, on absolutely any occasion. Because the minute we get even that slightly, that peace is gone. Or even the desire wanting, create peace is gone. And then our judgmentalism of it should be this way, it shouldn't be that way. I know sometimes I'll watch a movie or read a book, and then I hate the ending. I'll be so annoyed that they ended the story that way. It's a movie. It's a story. It's fictional. Like, why so much reaction? Mm. Um, and so we don't really guard our peace. It's very easily dispersed. And in psychology, I think I've told you all this already. When in early days in counseling, we train to ask ourselves and whoever we're counseling, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? And it's interesting what people reply to this. So if I had to ask you, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Answer? Yeah, I want to be right. You'd be surprised how many people say that. But more people say both. But then it wouldn't be a choice if you could have both, right? But that wanting to be right, the cost of it is happiness. Or the cost of it is peace. And then we're willing to pay the price. We give away peace because we want to be right. Or we want attention. We want praise. And then peace is gone because the price is my peace. So this is an interesting to introspect on. What's the price do you think your peace is worth? Because it's not a financial thing. And then, very important, are you willing to pay it? Because the price is let go of. Yeah. So I'll give you another example, okay? What's the price of truth? Letting go of delusions and assumptions. Now, you might think that's not such a high price to pay, but we make a lot of assumptions in our head. The world should be this way. People should be this way. I shouldn't get hurt. I should be successful. No one should tell me what to do. That's all rubbish. Price of truth is letting go of all of those assumptions. Are you willing to pay? And you'll know if you're willing to pay because do you know the truth? Or do you still hold on to assumptions? If you're holding on to assumptions, you haven't been willing to pay the price. Yeah. And so peace. What's the price of peace? Well, firstly, do you have it? And if you haven't so far been willing to pay the price for it. A lot of times it's not a conscious decision. A lot of the times, if I consciously had to make a choice between being right and being at peace, I'd say I want to be at peace. But it's not a conscious decision, and so we choose being right. Or, sometimes I'll see people in the social world, and it's like the price is exhausted to be in the social world. And they're so willing to pay the price. And I'm so not. So it's a very good thing I joined ashram. And then sometimes people will complain. And of course in Hong Kong, they'll complain about Hong Kong. People here are so da 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 da. And I'll say, but you don't have to. You don't have to. But we live in the society, so you still don't have to. it's the price you pay. And when we're not willing to pay it, we should totally own that that's a choice. So if I'm holding hurt in my heart, that's a choice. If I'm holding anger in my heart, I've chosen to. And so a lot of times we say, no, they did this to me, and so now I am in pain, or I feel whatever it is I feel. But you have a choice. Be at peace, continue to think that way. So what's the cost of peace? Change your thinking. Change what it is you value. Now, there's been like a ton of movies where they'll, like, main our hero or our heroine, and then they have some very fatal disease. And so they'll show the person, and maybe they would have been very popular, very successful, very athletic, and then they get this, when they maybe like in a corporate world setting, then they get this horribly, terribly fatal disease, and then they have to change lifestyle drastically, especially if it's something like chemo, then it takes a toll on the body, and you literally have to withdraw, the hair falls, and so many vanity and acceptance, and you don't want to feel pitied, and so many things, right? And a lot of these movies, one of the messages will be that they'll choose peace. Why? Because when death is very real, and you have like a month to go, you'll choose peace. You will know, you won't choose impressing Joneses or Sharmas or whoever. You won't choose impressing them when you've got, or holding a grudge against whoever. And now there's only one more month to go. And if I want to choose peace, then I have to let go of anger, pain, hurt, disappointment. I have to let go of disappointment. A lot of the times, the pain in our hearts are disappointments. So here, the quiver, this mind that is steady, the arrows are of peace. Is it? I mean, you wouldn't really think of arrows as peace, because we think of arrows as weapons. But I guess it's what we radiate. And the quiver being steady because it holds it, right? And so if we think of peace as something that can be so easily spilt or disturbed, so the container at least has to be steady. So the quiver is very, very steady. And then to help to create this, amala achala mana totra samana, sama chama niyama sili mukhanana. So it's saying that, so this pure and steady mind and the arrows of peacefulness seem to be linked with the yamas and the niyamas. So in Patanjali's Yoga Shastra, the first one is yama first, and then niyamas. So yamas are the do's or the don'ts, and niyamas are the do's. They're all do's. No, so one is like non-stealing, non-violence, so it's don'ts. Like, don't do that. I mean, yes, do the don't. I mean, don't. Y'all know what I'm saying. Code of conduct. But so yama comes first, and what are the 5 yamas? Ahimsa, asteria is non-stealing, but not collecting lots of stuff is also one of them. Aprika. And then brahmacharya satya is something we're very familiar with. And then the niyamas are such. Saucha is cleanliness. Santosha is contentment, which has also already come. Tapas is very similar to brahmacharya, but it's proactive. And swadhyaya is to study the scriptures. There's one more. Ishvara arpita, devoted to. Yeah, so these are the do's, right? You can see how they do's. And the first ones were the don'ts. So they're the don'ts. Don't steal. And the one I like the best is don't hoard. Don't collect too many things. It's such a good message for Diwali cleaning time. So I make a rule. This can be your homework because actually you're supposed to Diwali clean. And sometimes people just don't do it. I remember when we were doing the course, a lot of people thought, oh, ritualism, we are Vedantins. and so it was Diwali, and Acharyaji, the person, the guru for us during our 2 years, I think it was the night before, and he said, if you haven't cleaned your room yet, Lakshmi's coming, you have to clean your house. I remember the whole girls' dorm was awake till like 1 or 2 in the morning, like doing such major cleaning, because once Guru says it, you have to do it, right? But anyone who's actually spent time cleaning, so there's the physical thing, you move dust. Physically, you have to clean things, which is great. But mostly in Hong Kong, we are very pampered and we have help to physically clean things for us. So it's actually decluttering and tidying up mess. And so decluttering is amazing. So the rule I keep for myself when I am Diwali cleaning is I have to give away 2 things from every drawer or shelf. And then some drawers are a little bit hard. Like really, really, some drawers are a little bit hard to give away something from. Like if the bookshelf is there and then the other, then minimum of 1. But I have to take out 1 thing. Otherwise, generally, rule of thumb is 2 things. There's one shelf that I have in the bathroom cabinet that only had 2 things on it. So I was like, this rule is going to be very expensive. If the shelf doesn't have anything, then that's great, right? You've decluttered, you dusted. It only had the 2 essential oil bottles on it. Like, this is too expensive to give away. We're not giving this away. We'll just dust the shelf, put the 2 bottles back. No, but sometimes it's so easy, right? Because I've been doing it now for the whole week. You open the drawer and you know straight away, take out, take out, take out. And that in itself is a great activity to do. Because why are you holding on to this? Yeah. Then sometimes when you're sitting there thinking, what to take out, that's also a great activity. Because we hold on, assuming something or the other. I'll use it later. When? And like, seriously, today's world, the Taobao app is on your phone. What do you can order it. It will be there in like 2 minutes, it will be there. In India, it's there in 2 minutes. Turbine takes 2 days. Non-cluttering our lives is an incredibly important part of. Actually, it's linked in with charitableness. If I'm not using, Mother Earth created it, and we totally underestimate how much time, energy goes into creating things, right? Like to grow this cotton. They've taken years. And so that effort should be rewarded by it being used. And so if I'm not using it, it's being selfish. Let someone else use it. And so this is expanding heart. But decluttering and not collecting a lot of things also. So that one of the reasons we'll collect a lot of things is I'll need it later. And then in the Bhagavad Gita, there's this line, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam, like if I am sincere in my devotion to Bhagavan, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. I will look after. What you need, I will take care of. You will get. Now, you all are not even Swamis, and you would have experienced that. You need something, and then ta-da! It appears. It happens in the ashram so often. I'll, of course, wanting to be giving away things because it's one of my favorite things to do. And somebody will say, I was just looking for this. And I'll be like, great day. The ashram is magical. Whatever you need, you get. No, it's not the ashram is magical. Actually, everywhere is like that. Because Bhagwan's all pervading. It's not like he works his magic only here in the ashram. What we need, we get. And so this concept of faith, what I need, forget. I don't have to hoard, keep, save. I mean, be financially feasible. I'm not saying give away everything and then spend money trying to buy it all back in the next month. I'm not saying be unrealistic about it. But we all, most of us, keep far more than we need. So one, resources of the planet should get used. And two, our faith. We don't have to hold on to anything. There's this story from Taponji Maharaj. Taponji Maharaj walked around barefoot with Mandukya Upanishad and one set of clothes. That was all his possessions, Kamandu. So in today's world, water bottle, one set of clothes he wore, one set of clothes he carried, and Mandukya Upanishad in a bag. 4 things. That's all he owned. He didn't own shoes, huh? He walked barefoot. And so, zero food, no money, that's all. He walked, and we walk around in the city where we're surrounded by so much food. He walked around the Himalayas, where it's snow and ice and mountain. And there was, I think, a span of 2 or 3 days where he hadn't eaten. And there was this snowstorm. And so he couldn't walk because the storm was quite harsh. And so he took shelter in a small little mandir. You know, the mandirs aren't big like this. They were small. They were like literally little caves in the walls. In the mountain walls. And then these bandits, these thieves, what they were doing in the Himalayas, I don't know. Because who are you going to steal in the Himalayas? Nobody in the Himalayas has money. I don't know why these thieves were there. They come into the temple and they like, give us all your money, give us food. They go through Tapanji Maharaj's bag and what are you going to steal? Mandukya Upanishad? It's like, that's it. That's all he's got in his bag. And you really can't steal the knowledge of Mandukya. It's just too deep. So he gave the bag, you know, like whatever. And they looked at him and it's like, you're worse off than we are. Like, you have less than what we have. Like, they stuck in the house now, in this little mandir. They shared their food with him. Who? These people who came to take away whatever food he had. Seeing how little he had, they shared their food with him. Yoga Kshemam Mahamyaham. Bhagwan's promised. Bhagwan's promised he will take care of us, he'll take care of us. Like, we really overthink it. There's this other story. I used to say it often, but I haven't said it in a long time. Chhatrapati Shivaji is a king, and his guru was Samartha Ramdas. Samartha Ramdas is one of the most amazing stories of a saint that you will hear. There's this is not linked in with non-stealing, but I'm going to tell you anyways, because it's such a cool story about Samartha Ramdas. He had a fever, and so he was shaking. So he wrapped himself in a blanket to try and get rid of the shivers that he was feeling. And then some catastrophe happened, and the devotees came begging, Maharajji, please help us. And so he looked at Bhagwan in his heart only and said, I have to help. They're asking me. So the fever got transferred to the blanket. So the blanket was shaking. He went off to help the devotees. Then he came back and he took the fever back from the blanket. Such a cool saint. I mean, that's a recurring theme in the stories of saints and sages. They don't try and run away from pain and suffering. If pain and suffering is there, we enjoy it. So Chhatrapati Shivaji had this whole army. India was invaded, I don't know how many times, 14, 15, 16, a lot of times. And Chhatrapati Shivaji was one of the ones who had warded off quite a few of the invasions, and he did this by the help of Samartha Ramdas. And so one day when he was feeding his army, he saw rows and rows and rows and rows of soldiers sitting down, eating their food. And then just this thought comes into his head. Feed so many people every single day. It may be sometimes when you see like as a king, you see your whole army, it left an impression on his mind that all these people, I am looking after them. And Samartha Ramdas read his thoughts and told him, come with me. And so he walks a foot further away from where all the soldiers are, and there's this rock in the middle of all the sand. And he says, break it. He can't get one of the soldiers to break it because the Guru has told him, so he has to break it. And so with a lot of effort, he breaks the rock. And what does he see? That inside the rock, there was a cavity. And inside the cavity of the rock, there's water, and there's a little frog. And it had already grown, however much. And then Samartha Ramdas said, did you feed him also? That's all he said. What a tupper. But look at Bhagwan's kripa, because that frog would have grown only so much inside that rock. And now the rock's broken, And now the frog will be able to get even more food and keep growing. And it's like, Bhagwan looked after that frog even to that extent. Shraddha is this. It's not one of the yamas and niyamas. One of the yamas and niyamas are don't keep hoarding. But it helps us not to keep hoarding when we have faith that we are looked after. And so these yamas and niyamas are, even though all those virtues given here in Vibhishana Gita and the different chapters of the Gita, they are our strength. The more we practice, the stronger we become. You know, and I said this just yesterday in the Gita class. It's not like you have to practice all of them. Take one and keep practicing it. But then Diwali will come. And even if you're not practicing non-hoarding, it's part of the festival. So as a one-off, you have to practice it. That's also one of the amazing things about the festivals when they come, is that they prompt us to be able to do sadhana and do a little bit of tapas. And then the last line. Kavacha abeda vipra guru puja. So the kavacha is the, what would you call it in English?
Shield. Shield. Shield.
Is that a shield? That's the armor? The thing, it's like that vest. Yeah. That's the kavacha. Is Vipra Guru Puja. Worship of Guru. Puja literally means worship. And worship of our Guru. This is a week to talk on Guru. Even yesterday it came. Seva to Guru. Why is this the Kavacha? This is our protection. So first and foremost, God is formless. And God is, especially in the Advaitic tradition, impersonal. Some people don't like that. They want God to be personal. Especially if we are more bhakti inclined. God has to be real and he should know I exist. This need for me, I'm important, so God better know I exist. And so when you say God is like petrol in the car or electricity, we don't like this kind of God. Just electricity, or like sunlight filling the world with light. But does he know I exist? He should know I exist. And he better, make life easier for me, not only just know I exist. So if you are one of those people, you're not going to like what I'm going to say next. Bhagwan upholds dharma. What does dharma mean? Universal laws. The most common one, every action has reaction. So you do something and then he's not sitting there deciding what the result is. There's a law. And then the reaction will come as per the law. And so Bhagwan's not personal. But Guru is always personal. Guru has to be a person. Bhagwan doesn't suddenly manifest and say, we have a poof child. What are you doing? Stop it. Change. Do better. Bhagwan won't. If we're doing something, maybe health will degenerate and then we get, oh wait, I should change. But that buddhi comes, it comes. It doesn't come, it doesn't come. But because Guru is a person, sometimes people will tell me things and I'm not, unfortunately my face is transparent, but I'm not saying anything. Just listen. I know what you're thinking. I'm not thinking anything. I'm trying very hard not to think here. I'm just listening to you. I know what you're thinking. Because with a person, it's, when we talk to the Murti, well, it's impersonal. And when a person's looking back at you, whether they can see through you or can't see through you, you feel seen through. And so if we are sincere, we'll want to do better. The number of times people will meet me after years and they'll say, I know I should come for class. And I'm like, I didn't say anything. I asked about the kids. I didn't say come for class. No, I know I should. I know I should. If we are sincere, we want to do better. Even if it's just in that moment. Even if it doesn't last. Even if it's just in that moment. When we with the Guru. We forget after we with the Guru, we forget. But depending on the sincerity, right? But at least in front of them, for that short time, the mind takes the shape of a sincere intention of doing what is better. So why specifically Vipra Guru Puja? Especially true for Vedantists. In Bhakti Shastra, God is personal. And so there's no problem. In Vedanta, God is enlivening consciousness. And so our relationship is with the Guru. Also, often, the relationship with Guru is very reflective on our relationship with God. So, if we're very scared in the presence of Guru, and usually we're scared of God also. When we feel accepted and loved by Guru, you can scold me. It's okay. It's good for me only. And that will be true for God also. And then God doesn't scold, but life happens, no? COVID happens and then and then economy crashes and then you can think of it as God scolding. Be better, do different, have faith, persevere, don't quit. Whatever it is, right? So Guru will actually scold, if you are lucky. I repeat, if you are lucky. If you're not, everyone's good. But that's not luck. Because who will you scold? Only those you know love you enough that won't run away. Otherwise, they run away, which is fine. Remember, relationship with Guru is very indicative of our relationship with God. People run away from God also. What's that Indian word? Katti. You didn't give me what I want. I now deny you. You do not exist. There's no God. I'm becoming atheist. Just one big tantrum, really, when there's inability to accept. And sometimes people get very upset by the humanness of gurus because they're human only. Which is why Gurudev used to say that Guru can never be your Ishtadevata, never your anchor in meditation. Why? Because they are human, and then we get angry with them, we get upset with them, or we feel sometimes betrayed, sometimes disappointed in their actions or inactions. And so the humanness of a guru can be flawed. Maybe a little stubborn, maybe blunt, maybe old school, more conservative in their thinking. In today's world, they would be cancelled because not politically correct. And then we can see all of this as flawed. I think Gurudev had made one comment once about how women should never wear pants. Gurudev was born in 1916. The world was so different then. To cancel him based on that, there's so much knowledge that's gone. Flawed? In today's world, we would consider that sentence flawed. And so it could be a personality trait, it could be they were a viewpoint, it can be a... How do we react to their humanness is also indicated of our love for God. Because scriptures are very, very clear that a limited entity cannot contain perfection and the fullness of what is being taught to us in the scriptures. And in the Guru Parampara tradition, so gurus, the students would go to Gurukul and then live there for 12 years, about some of them 8 years, some of them 9 years, some of them 12 years. But at the end of the time when they're going back home, then there's this convocation ceremony where the gurus will chant the farewell message before you now go off and live your life. And it is, whatever good you have learned from me belongs to scriptures. Whatever bad you have seen in me belongs to me. Take all that is good from the scriptures and go and live it. It's like a vessel, water bottle. Some people will carry those small ones because they don't want their bag to become heavy. So how much water can that small one hold? Like if you're really thirsty, then you like it. Why doesn't it have more? The vessel's going to have limitations, sometimes in quality. But some people will carry those brass ones because then the water tastes different. Some people carry ones which have infuser and then put all flavoring inside. The vessel will change the way it's carried. But water is water, and water will quench your thirst and hydrate you. Whether it's flavored, whether it's little, whether it was polluted by the plastic, whether it was enhanced by the copper, whether it was. So whatever the vessel is the humanness. But the knowledge that is given is truth. And so Vipra Guru Puja is saying the puja I offer to the Guru is to the truth that I have been able to see in those glimpses where I have seen them. And the humanness is just humanness, limitation of vessel. So even that maturity because remember, otherwise our relationship with God is make my life better. But in acceptance of humanness of Guru, there's also the acceptance of it is my responsibility to be able to think and understand for myself. It is my responsibility to be able to implement what I have understood to make my life better. There's zero laziness. Zero laziness. So, worship of Guru or reverence to the Guru is our armor because it, one, forces us to be very sincere. Whether it's in relationship with the divine or our effort and in our understanding of the essence of what the scriptures are telling us. But most importantly, do we believe it is possible to gain realization? So if we judge that these gurus may not realize, then how will I get realized? Because I don't believe by them following, they realized. It's like shooting yourself in the foot. You can't make progress. I remember early days when I came to Hong Kong. And, people will say things about Puja Gurudev based on their own experiences, and I don't think so. I'm not very touchy. Like if somebody didn't like his personality type, okay. He was a very bold, strong person. Some people wanted someone a little bit more gentler. Fine. I remember it was one of our own well-known devotees. They went off on this one tangent. They started off with some other Mahatma that had just visited Hong Kong that week, and then went on to the one that was coming. Because Hong Kong has had full itinerary of how many have come. Actually, less now, huh? But like when I first got here, wow, Hong Kong was a hub of people coming to visit. And then Gurudev had already taken Samadhi, then started on Gurudev. And then I was like, how can you say this? And when I first came, I didn't talk so much. Used to be quiet more often than not. Because talking got you into trouble, so don't talk. But I think I went on a full 10 minutes. Hey, Uncle, I can't believe you saying these things. If people like you say these things, then what does that show about religion altogether? Then there was pin drop silence. I thought, uh-oh. And then he said, you're right. Now, that doesn't mean I'm right, huh? It could just be out of protocol or respect for the robes or. And then I remember double guessing myself. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything. Sati. Do you know who Sati is? Was married to Shiva. When Shiva was insulted, Sati says, I would rather die than tolerate insult to God and Guru. I trained myself not to say too much. But this, do not tolerate. I remember reading a book on Guru once, and it was such a lovely book. It was written by a Western person. She had gone to India on a Guru hunt, which already is like just the anti, that's not how it works. You don't go shopping for Guru. It's no. And so why was I reading this book? Because she came to her senses. She talks about how every disciple will have love for their Guru. And so she desperately wanted an Indian Guru because, it's romantic as a Westerner. It's considered exotic to go India, have Indian Guru. The Beatles did it, this one did it, that one did it. But the person that her heart loved to listen to was a Westerner who used to regularly go to the pub and used to whatever. And she writes about exactly what I was saying, that the vessel doesn't matter if it inspires you to be better. And different things will click for different people. And The pretentiousness, in her case, she realized the pretentiousness of wanting exotic and was stopping her from seeing realness of everyday life in her world. I'm not saying that's true for everyone. Yeah. But the person she then resonated with wasn't what was held up as guru kind of figure. And so lots of comments by her friends then, that's the person you listen to? Don't listen to any insults. Walk away. Shut them down. Don't listen. Why? Because our mind is a very strange thing. Very strange. And the minute we start doubting, there's no coming back. We might outgrow a particular person, and that's fine. Still, don't insult. Don't listen to it. And when we are sincere and we follow this wholeheartedly, remember, he has promised. He will send what we need. Kavacha Vipra Guru Puja. My armor is my love for my Guru. And so the last point here is, people get very scared to commit to loving a Guru. I personally don't understand it. Intellectually, I understand it. If they not, then I feel like a fool. I got cheated, and so better not to. Intellectually also I can understand a lot of people don't want to bow down. Yeah. Like I said, last life I must have already worked this one out. This life, once I met, bowing down was priority. This fear of committing to likens our fear or likens our hesitancy to commit to spiritual journey. It's and so introspecting for yourself from 1 to 10, how much are you willing to surrender, commit, accept, follow? That's the same proportion of how much, that's the cost. Remember, I started with saying everything has a cost? The cost for your spiritual progress is this. What? Willingness to surrender. There's this lovely story. This husband and wife had already reached the age of 65, which is sannyas ashram. Actually, 75 is sannyas ashram. So, okay, let's make them 75. So 25 was, till 25 is brahmachari, and then you go into grahastha ashram. From 25 to 50, you are in grahastha ashram. From 50 to 75, you're in vanaprastha. From 75 to 100, you're in sannyasa ashram. That's if you live to 100. So if you don't think you're going to live to 100, then you better bring everything down. So you're supposed to take sannyas, right? By 75, latest, you're supposed to take sannyas. So this couple who had lived their life very nobly and piously got to around 75, and they decided, time to take sannyas. And they thought, now we don't have guru, because if we have to take sannyas, then you have to surrender to guru and listen to instruction and then follow instruction. And then they said, now where to find guru? Like, how will we know? So then wife said to husband, because wife is always, more intuitively smarter, and said, we will leave the house, and Bhagwan has said, when the student is ready, guru will appear. So the first one who appears, that will be our guru. So they leave the house. Step one, they did with full sincerity, not taking 5 suitcases, because of course they're 75, you can't carry so much also. You carry one teli like Taponji Maharaj, put a few things in, left the house, properly left the house, gave keys, everything to kids, grandkids, here, you take. They are walking on the streets. There was this thief, and he was running away from the police, and he ran past these clothes hanging, which belonged to sannyasi. And he thought, they have my description of thief. They won't know I am. If I wear these clothes, I'll be able to hide from police. So he put on the kurta, he tied hair up, he put all the bhasma everywhere, full proper disguise now. And he's still trying to get away from those police. So he is walking very fast. So, he's walking this way, this beautiful young, old couple are walking this way, and bang, they meet. And immediately, both of them plunk to the floor and hold his feet and said, Guruji, we have met you. We are so blessed. We just left the house 10 minutes ago looking, and Bhagwan has already sent you. We are so blessed that we didn't have to walk for long before we met you. They sat down there. He can't move because they are holding his feet because they are super sincere. And they want to take sannyas, and they want to get moksha, and they need guru. And now Guru Bhagwan has said, because Bhagwan has said, when we are ready, Guru will appear, and he appeared. So they said, you please give us instruction. Now he's thinking instruction. So he said, this everybody knows. You sit here and chant Om Namah Shivaya. This is good instruction. And they said, how long? Then he said, he's thinking, well, I need at least 20 minutes to get far away. Don't open your eyes till Shiva himself comes. So they took his blessings, they sat, they started chanting Om Namah Shivaya. He left. They were so sincere. About 3 weeks passed, and they were sitting there. Now they owe it. Bhagwan's heart melted. They have lived noble lives, they sincere, some water, some relief from sitting in tapas. So Bhagwan appeared in front of them and said, you please open your eyes. I have come to give you darshan. They didn't know what to do. What is this really Bhagwan? Would he really have come by now? How we forgot to ask the Guru, how will he know if it's really Bhagwan? All this is going on in their mind, which Bhagwan can of course see. This is Bhagwan thinking, oh no. Bhagwan had to find the thief. Bring him back. Tell him to tell them. Now listen to me. Thief was brought. They recognized Guru. They trusted. Vipra Guru Puja. Because Bhagwan alone sends Guru. And Bhagwan alone protects us. And if we are sincere, very important. If we are sincere, we cannot be cheated. Hurt might happen because such is life. But not cheated. Because sometimes somebody will say something and you didn't like that. That happens. But not cheated. He will protect. But to get God, they needed Guru. Whoever that Guru may be. So the last message of Ramji is, you practice everything. And the thing that keeps you the safest is your devotion to Guru. And we are very blessed. Very, 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 very blessed. So we surrender to His feet. Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kasyat kabak bhavet, asato ma satkamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma mritangamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Shishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hare